let's be real. If you were one of the 72 and you're sitting here and you ask yourself, would the job get done? I think that's actually a good question that we should ask ourselves, because it wasn't like he was calling them something easy. He was calling them to something really heavy. I pointed out a few things that he said, hey, just a little heads up. This is not gonna be easy. He said, you're gonna go 2 by 2. Now you might say, well, that's not that scary. Well, that means you can't hide. That means that you can't just be one of the 72 and you're just a part of the revival and you're like, woo! No, you're preaching it. You're praying for the healing. You're believing for it. And I think that's the thing that you have to ask yourself, like, okay, I'm one of the people that God called, and I can't just hide in the room with these thousands of people. What would it be like if you were called and he said, don't bring anything that makes you comfortable, just totally depend on me? Would you be able to do it? He said, people are gonna reject you. You're gonna show up to places and they're gonna straight up reject you and the message, and you're gonna have to learn how to shake the dust off your feet so that you can walk on to the next town without the bitterness from the last, without the crushing from the last. He also said, prepare the way for me to come. And I think that's a really good point too, because what he's asking you to do is to prepare the way for him, not to build our own platform, not to live out all of our dreams and our things. No, man, it's preparing the way for him to get the glory, for him to get the fame. So I think we have to ask ourselves, if we're gonna get the job done, can we do it 2 by 2? Can I do my job? Am I gonna be okay knowing that I'm a lamb among the wolves? Am I gonna be okay leaving everything behind that makes me feel comfortable because I know that he will sustain me and he will give me everything I need to do the job? Are we gonna be okay when people reject us to be able to get back up and keep going, knowing that this is not about us and it does not matter if man approves? I'm looking for the approval of the one who sent me and called me and made me. And are we gonna be okay spending our life preparing the way for his coming and not just building our own platform? If we're gonna get the job done, we gotta be okay with that. If we gotta get the job done, we gotta say yes to that. After said she would go in the bathroom and cry because she would not understand passages. And she said, God, I want to understand your heart in this. I mean, they didn't just do the job, they did it well. They did it with all of their heart. And then here I am. Who am I to get to hand them this word that they sowed into for so long, that they did so well? They didn't have funding at times and they kept going. They didn't have computers and they kept going. They didn't have a round of applause from people and they kept going. They didn't have, they had 40 years and they didn't quit. And here they are. And so I walk up to them and I pull out the word and I hand it to Esther, and she just begins to weep. Her hands are trembling, holding the word, and she says, thank you, God. And he looked at us, and his family was there. Like, he has a lot to live for, and he said, I can die now because I did what I was called to do. I mean, it was that powerful.